My name's Jamie Bates Sloane. I teach at the University of Oklahoma. I received my master's from the University of Kansas and my undergraduate degree from the University of Central Missouri. I am currently living in Norman, Oklahoma, where I have a small studio at home and at school, and that's where I make all of my work, both functional and sculptural. A lot of the inspiration came actually very shortly after you asked me to do this. When I was in Dallas in March, I came across a piece in a museum that was on this 10-foot tall pedestal, and it looked like it was judging everyone in the room. And that's something that it's been kind of heavy on my mind in the last, probably 2, maybe 3 years, coming to terms with my own identity and identifying as queer and feeling fear of judgment and fear of, folks looking down upon me, judging my decisions or judging my choices in life. The objective with that large-scale head that has the 2 faces, I've been telling folks, I'm like, there's 2 types of judgment I see in the world, and it's kind of like a snobby, I'm looking down upon you kind of judgment, and then the other side's kind of like, oh, bless your hearts, kind of judgment. They're kind, but that their real intention behind what they're saying is concerned for you, and maybe not the most nice way, I guess you could say. Growing up in the Midwest and in a small town, you are subjected to other people's judgment all the time, and so that's something that I feel like I'm still kind of breaking away from. I think whenever I'm processing something for myself, it's usually processed through my work. There are so many other little weird ideas that are interjected into the piece, references to Roman gods like Janus, who is the god of transition and change and new beginnings. He was also seen as the god that basically guarded the gates, so he was the judger of folks that were coming, to the afterlife. And so it's just a really interesting idea of how I could use that reference and kind of turn it around and, model myself in that position. There's a really amazing variety of work, and I really love the fact that I got access to the statements about their work. It was really eye-opening, and it informed a lot of my decision on what was going to be included in the exhibition. It was a really wonderful variety of things, all the way from where I'm sure that now that I know some of the people that are in the exhibition. You've got student work all the way to people who are teaching in the university level. So it's a wide variety of what is to be offered in ceramics at this point. But I think one thing that I really tried to do, particularly with this exhibition, is from the work that was submitted, try to show a wide breadth of what's possible in clay. Naturally, there was a lot of figurative work that was applied with, so it is a little heavy with the figure, but I tried to really round it out and give a good representation of what's happening in clay right now. The people in the class are awesome. It's a really great mix of students. Young college students in their 20s all the way up to a Vietnam vet. So it's really great to have that kind of diversity within the classroom. And they're really feeding off of each other, and the community within the classroom is really nice, and everybody's just really vibing off of each other really well. It's just been a really lovely experience teaching, students of all ages, how to sculpt themselves and how to look at the human body. And then I love interjecting all those weird fun facts about the human body that maybe other people don't know, and that's what kind of makes the stuff stick. My favorite fun fact is that human beings are one of the only mammals with outer turned lips, and so when I'm talking about sculpting the figure and how I approach using my tools, I'm kind of dragging the clay from the inside out, so our insides are on the outside. It's kind of how our lips are made. That's why they're so sensitive. It's really kind of gross. We're focusing on self-portraiture for this workshop, so we started with small tiles representing the mouth, the nose, the eye, the ear, kind of focusing on the small parts of the face, and then piecing those together to create a full portrait, capturing the full roundness of the face and looking at the human body objectively. It's really tricky when you're sculpting yourself and you're sculpting a self-portrait to kind of unlearn what you think you look like and those sort of things, or maybe some of the insecurities that you have about your own appearance. That's kind of the objective of the class. It does get a little psychological and a little, introspective, I guess you could say. It does require you to kind of see the shapes and the forms of your face to sculpt it. And so right now the students are working on creating their full portrait using everything they've learned from the last 3 days of the workshop. I'm hoping to see like full faces come to fruition by the end of the day and by the end of tomorrow for sure. Every workshop is a learning experience, and I kind of learn new things that I need to like interject into the work, or things that like I have a tendency to kind of have a comfortable attitude with, like maybe that's my language with, when talking in the classroom. I'm assuming that people already know something about ceramics is a really bad habit of mine. So like really bringing that down and changing that and adding new techniques to my process or new things that I want to discuss with the class. Like that kind of stuff really is useful from these kind of experiences. And then in regards of my work, I feel like this is one of those kind of turning points where I'm trying new surfaces and I'm talking about a slightly different subject than what I was usually battling with before. And so it's gone a little bit more or less from like strictly talking about mental health to talking about other parts of my identity. I think overall that's really where it's all coming from, is like my identity. Yeah, I have, it's like a weird little like, like evil mission of mine. I would say take a workshop, like one of these, get some books, take some classes. If you can't take a class in person, there's lots of options to take classes online. It's really lots of us start in our garages. Lots of us start because we've decided that, we wanted to try something else out. Maybe we weren't happy in our career or something like that. Get some clay and just make some things. Yeah. It's been strange. I'm not realizing that people know who I am. And so it's like been really like, I don't know why I keep thinking the word humbling, because it's not humbling. It's like the opposite of humbling. But yeah, it's an interesting experience. I've never been down to Silver City before. I'm really enjoying being here. The people are really nice here, and I've just really enjoyed the whole experience. It's been wonderful.